Hello guys, welcome to another Hooked Gamers video review. My name is Chris Priestman and today I am looking at the Dishwasher Vampire Smile. Vampire Smile is actually a sequel to James Silver's The Dishwasher Dead Samurai, which came out on Xbox Live Arcade in 2009. The fast-paced combat, excessive gore and graphic novel style has been successfully transferred over into Vampire Smile. However, a brand new engine means all of these things has been enhanced, and what is delivered is a first-rate beat-em-up. As is often the case within this genre, the plot is somewhat confusing and very disjointed. In fact, to fully understand the game's plot, you will have to play through the game twice as two different characters. One of them, of course, is the Dishwasher, and the other is Yuki, his stepsister. Yuki's storyline is by far the most gripping and interesting. It's basically a revenge story, as she goes after the three marks of authority who accused her of blowing up the world at the end of the original game and consequently framed her as a terrorist. Players of the original game may remember that Yuki was accidentally killed by the Dishwasher at the end. Having been resurrected as a cyborg of sorts, Yuki now is haunted by a creeper who invades her nightmares. These sections not only offer a break from the relentless beat-em-up action, but also offer a deeper, disturbing psychological edge to the game. And although the rest of the plot is completely disposable, I mean who's actually playing a beat-em-up for the story anyway, the portrayal of Yuki's psychological breakdown into insanity really is part of the game's strength. So with the confusing plot aside, what you will be spending most of your time doing is basically hacking and slashing through every enemy that gets in your way. The visual style of the game is definitely one of its most prominent features. It adopts a black and white palette which only goes to emphasise the amount of red blood you are spraying all over the backgrounds. So the game really is not for the squeamish, but for anyone into their graphic novels or dark tales of despair and violence, well, this is the absolutely perfect game for you. The characters themselves are being picked straight out of a graphic novel, doused in a whole load of awesome sauce, and then given a destructive arsenal of weapons to spill guts with. And trust me, if you think the game looks good, then just wait until you play it. Yes, what really makes this game shine is its gameplay. Juggling enemies with your katana, then pulling out your chainsaw and then blasting them with a shotgun is a common occurrence in this game. All the controls feel just about right so you can pull off any combo and switch to any weapon in mid-battle at any time. This way the violence comes in an abundance and it is very easy to pull off. If you do find yourself getting a little bit overwhelmed by the enemies, you also have an ability called Dish Magic. But by far the best innovation within the game is the evade system called Blood Mist. Now I don't know about you, but I find in most beat-em-ups that guarding or blocking can become very disruptive to your flow. Blood Mist, on the other hand, makes this a thing of the past. Basically, you can teleport your character to any direction with the right analog stick. At first, you use it just to simply pass through grates blocking the way, but it's best put to use in combat as it allows you to pass through body and bone. It's very liberating as you can basically fly by using it. And unlike most other games, it really does make you feel like a bit of a ninja as you're flying around, passing through bodies, then peering behind enemies and slicing them in the back. Now you may think this might be a little bit of a problem as it takes away any challenge that the enemies may provide. You really do have a massive advantage over them by being able to teleport between and through them. However, there's a huge variety of enemy in the game and many of them are quite difficult to defeat. Most of them are cyborg ninjas and are pretty fast on their feet. Others will shoot at you, and some flying robots will fire missiles. And when you combine all these different types together, there are more, then you do really have a frenzy on screen and you have to keep an eye on everything to make sure you dodge at the right time and in the right direction. There are not only smaller enemies, but there are also mini-bosses and bosses themselves to defeat as well. Some of them are very inventive, for instance the Skeletank, which is a skeleton on tank tracks that breathes fire. There's a silver dragon that also breathes fire obviously, and one of the more common enemies is a zombie shark on robotic legs that fires missiles. Now don't tell me you don't want to play this game. As far as the majority of beat-em-ups go, there isn't usually a huge amount of replayability. However, the Dishwasher stands out for this very aspect. In the story mode there are several beads to collect which can be equipped which add modifiers to the game, such as making enemies drop more health or making your attacks against robots more powerful. These are usually delivered to you in blue presents which are left behind after you defeat a number of enemies in a certain time limit, or complete a guitar playing minigame, and most are just left lying around for you to find in hidden places. You will also collect money from the presents as well as fallen enemies. With this you can buy several upgrades to your health, magic and weapons. But by far adding the most replayability is the extra game modes and co-op features in the game. The arcade mode provides 50 different levels that often restrict your character to certain abilities in order to provide a challenge. This is where most of the hardcore players will spend most of their time in order to perfect their moves. So the arcade mode, the story mode and the extra survival mode called Dish Challenge all come with their own leaderboards for the extra competitive of you out there. And the story mode and arcade mode can also be played with a friend over Xbox Live or locally. And as most players will know, this does not always happen, so it's a great treat to have this ability in such a good beat 'em up. Unfortunately, the grayscale palette and game's manic presentation does become a little interruptive during co-op play. Losing track of your character becomes a common occurrence, but for the most part this is a really fun co-op experience. It's a shame there's not a separate campaign. You are going to be playing the same campaign over and over again, but at the end of the day, playing with a friend is really fun. When it comes to pros and cons, there really is a massive weighting on the positive side of this game. The gameplay and presentation really complement each other. The game is just absolutely maniacal. It not only looks absolutely insane, but it plays really fast, the pace is brilliant, and the best thing is that you can actually keep up with the game, and the game can keep up with you because the controls are so superbly handled. The only real negatives are it's very confusing and disjointed plots, but at the end of the day that's not going to matter too much, and if you do take the time to research into the background of the story, there is actually something going on, you can understand it just takes a little bit of time. The only other thing is that it's both a positive and a negative. Some players are going to find it extremely cheesy. Having like a zombie robot shark is something that's only going to appeal to some players. This is the kind of game where you can just relax, forget about trying to be a sophisticated game, and then really just go out and brutally slaughter zombies, robots and cyborg ninjas. And not only that, you also have that other gripping and disturbing psychological edge from Yuki's story, where she descends into the nightmare and the darkness of this mental asylum inside her head. There are also many postmodern references. There's references to Rooster Teeth, look out for one of those achievements, it's really fun to get. One of my favourite moments was this vegetated mental patient who actually acts as a sort of boss. Basically he attacks the dishwasher and gets inside his head, and it takes you back into a retro minigame. There are two types of beat 'em up and a text-based adventure, all of which must be beaten to defeat the boss. And the game has several moments like this that just feel so postmodernly genius that I cannot help but love it. Ultimately though, the game excels in keeping you interested throughout its entirety, and you also have all the other extra features that are also going to add replayability. Basically, if this game looks like it's something that you want to play, you are absolutely going to love it. If you're after some brutal slaughter at your fingertips, then please do not look any further than the Dishwasher Vampire Smile. It's great fun. Once again guys, it's been a pleasure, thanks for watching. Please check out our website at hookedgamers.com.